Hello, my name is Steve Fretzin, and I run a company called Fretzin Inc. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about 5 technology tools that will help lawyers in growing their practices. A little bit about myself. I am a business development coach primarily for attorneys based here in Chicago. However, I work nationally. Over the last number of years, I've written a few books. One is called Sales Free Selling, which is all about how sales is dead and how we have to look at more of a business development model, walking buyers through a buying process versus selling, convincing, or pitching. I also more recently wrote a book called The Attorney's Networking Handbook, which provides a lot of methodologies and processes to be an effective networker. And then I'm also a writer for the Chicago Daily Law Bulletin on a monthly basis. But mostly what I do is work with attorneys, helping them grow their law practices. And what I'd like to do is set a little bit of an agenda for what I'm going to cover today, and make sure that when you walk away from this presentation that you've gotten some good value from the time that you've invested. A couple things we're going to cover today. Number one is social media pros and cons, things I like about social media and how it can help benefit you in your practice, and things that I don't like. Buying into a CRM and getting more value from it. Developing positive habits through using your calendar. Blogging and building your online brand. And then finally, e-learning as a way to build your business development skills. All of these are technologies that are currently available to help you in growing your law practice. What I'd like to do is start with social media. Essentially, there's so many options for social media, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, my favorite being LinkedIn. You really have to think about where you want to spend your time. You want to think about where you want to build your brand, where the audience is, and then try to put your efforts and time into that. There is a program or a number of programs out there that allow you to post in one and then blast to the others. For example, one that isn't listed here is called Hootsuite, and that's where I can post something through Hootsuite, which will automatically post whatever article I'm interested in writing or my column on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, etc. The one that I find I'm getting the most traction on, quite frankly, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the business person's social media, and it's great for brand building. Pretty much everyone is on there. If you're a lawyer, your clients are on there for the most part, unless they're super old and have no interest. Most younger people are on there. I think when I started teaching it about 10 years ago, and I had a room of 50, and I'd say, how many of you are on LinkedIn? Maybe 15 or 20 hands went up. Now, when I ask that same question, every hand comes up, and then it's a matter. Then I say the next question is who's getting value or business out of LinkedIn, and then all the hands drop to the ground, and that's the end of it. So what I love about it is not just the ability to have an online profile that is professionally set up with my image, my names, my brands, language, interests, all the videos and articles I've written and everything else. More importantly, it's how I use it proactively. And I think that's where most people miss the boat, is that they're on it, but they're not using it. And the most important thing about LinkedIn is to understand that what it does is it connects you with people you're not currently connected with. So, for example, if I know Fred and Fred knows a company that I'm interested in, I don't know that person at that company, but if Fred does, I could go to Fred and try to get connected through Fred to that company. And that's really where I get a lot of business and a lot of movement forward. And I teach my clients this on a regular basis to ensure that they also are getting some real value from using LinkedIn. You can research companies, you can research industries, and find out who's in those industries and companies, and again, how you're connected in, leverage those connections properly, and you might have yourself a new client. So LinkedIn is about the most powerful tool that's out there for business development. So while I like Facebook and Twitter and think that there's some value there, LinkedIn is the best bang for the buck, especially if you do the premium or the elevated paid programs that exist. Another important thing to do is to really think about what CRM you're using. There's a number of different CRMs available to you. Obviously, you've heard of things like Salesforce and HubSpot and LexisNexis. Practice Panthers is one more recently that I'm involved with that I think is terrific. Mainly what we're doing is we're thinking about how are we managing our people? How are we managing our clients? How are we managing our strategic partners, the people in our networks? And it's very difficult to do that without a CRM. CRM stands for Client Relationship Management Tool. And again, the ability for you to be able to use these types of programs to effectively keep in touch with people, I think is really critical. As you can see from this example, you've got someone that you met that you think could be interested in your services. It might start as a lead and then move to someone that you've already contacted. Maybe it's someone that you pitched. You talk about next steps, but it's basically a pipeline that moves through and tracks, for you to be able to better follow up, to make sure that you're getting more performance out of your business development time. There's a lot of people you meet that you just forget about, and this is going to keep them in the forefront. CRMs usually fail mainly because there's a lack of training and a lack of execution on them. Something that I advise attorneys on, if they have the ability to bring their assistant, their paralegal into the mix with a CRM, to have them do it with them, that's a great way to have two people trained on it, and one person can either control it or hold the other person accountable. One way or the other, it allows for people to be more successful. Something else that I found is really important is, in addition to the CRM, is how you leverage your calendar to get results as it relates to business development. A couple of tools that I recommend on your calendar. Number one is really trying to schedule time for business development. You have a day, possibly the day had you. And what you want to think about is, can I schedule 30 minutes a day? Can I schedule 30 minutes a week? What are you trying to accomplish? And if you're looking to be successful in business development, you have to schedule time for it. It typically doesn't happen if you don't. Another very important thing that I like to do is use calendar meeting invites. You might already be doing this through Outlook or through Gmail. I think it's fantastic, especially when I want to make sure that someone's going to show. So in addition to verbally or through an email getting confirmation that a meeting is going to happen or a call is going to happen, I love sending out a meeting invite, having them confirm that meeting is happening and where it's happening and any details that are associated with it. I still might reach out to them with an email a day or two before just to confirm, but meeting invites have been a lifesaver for me in scheduling things and having them actually come through. And then through Outlook or through Gmail, there's also things called read receipts. If you're not using those are awesome. And one of the best technologies for making sure that when I send an email out, that I know it's been read, I know it's been reviewed, it's been replied to. There's a number of different ways for me to check in and make sure that the things that I'm sending out are coming back to me and reminding me that there's someone that hasn't responded or has responded, so that it doesn't slip through the cracks where I miss something really important. So a couple different ways to use your calendar, I think, is really important. Now, if you don't have a good track record of being consistent in setting up a habit to make calls in business development, I just want to show you something really interesting. Something that I've been using for years, and that's thinking about what motivates us to get results. What is driving us to want to schedule time for business development? And my question to you as a group is it your behaviors, your attitudes, or your beliefs? Okay, is it the behavior that drives the results in business development and getting things scheduled? Is it having a positive attitude, or is it the belief in yourself to be successful in business development? Okay, and the answer is all three. All three is the answer. However, I will say the one that I focus on mainly are behaviors. I have found that when we can drive positive behaviors, then the attitude is great, our belief in ourselves is up, and we want to continue those positive behaviors. On the other side of it, if you break a promise to yourself and you show poor behavior, your attitude is typically bad and your belief in yourself is maybe negative. So I think we want to focus on positive behaviors when dealing with our calendars in order to make sure that we achieve the things we want to achieve. Okay. And I know, like, if you set up a meeting with a friend of yours that you care about, you don't just not show up for that meeting, right? That would be an insult and that would be insane to do that. Hopefully you never do that. However, many times what I find is that people set meetings with themselves to do things or get things done, and then they break the meeting with themselves, and they just don't think twice about it. But what I find is that what happens is on a subconscious level, it's chipping away at your positive attitude and your belief in yourself. So, you don't want to break promises that you make to yourself the same way you wouldn't want to break a promise to someone that's a friend of yours. Another really important element of technology that we can use is blogging and building that online brand. Which attorney is best suited for this? That's the question. Obviously, if you're someone that's looking to get your word out about your practice, about what separates you from the other lawyers, you're going to want to, get a blog, get writing, and start thinking about how you're going to build your online presence. I think LinkedIn is a great way to do that. One thing you want to think about is who you should be targeting. Obviously, if you're targeting lawyers, you're going to want to focus on the legal publications and legal blog, Daily Law Bulletin in Chicago. Maybe it's Above the Law, National Law Review, just to name a few. If you're targeting CEOs, you're going to want to look at Cranes in Chicago. You're going to want to look at Forbes. You're going to want to look at other publications where you can post things that are going to get some movement. Or just get a blog and try to make sure that your following is that you're sending it out to your email list of CEOs and people that are going to be able to appreciate what you're writing. Last thing I want to talk about is e-learning, and this is a whole new thing that's come up in the last few years. I have a e-learning program called Origination Station. There's others like Lawytics or Practice Boomers. I'm not going to say which is better or worse. I think it's a personal preference. They all offer different things. But if you're looking to leverage technology to help you grow your book of business, this is a great way to go. I can't speak for the others, but for mine, just as an example, there's all types of video, audio, and written content on different topics. For example, the first thing I've got on mine is a lot of content on networking, how to be an effective networker. Soft skills. I also interview rainmakers and get their take on business development. And I also interview top people in the industry, search engine optimization, public relations, database management, people that are in the recruiting space, getting their take on what makes someone successful in those areas as an attorney. So again, the idea that you can buy sort of a Netflix for legal business development and marketing exists. You just don't know about it. And so this is something for not a lot of money. You have the ability to use as a way to help your lawyers and help your to learn business development very, very easily and efficiently and affordably. Okay, so just kind of wrapping up what we went through today. I think that you're going to want to really focus on training all of your attorneys on LinkedIn best practices. You're going to want to obtain real buy-in for any CRM and then make sure they're trained on it a lot. Again, the biggest reason people fail with CRMs is a lack of training. Be sure to create strong behaviors and habits by using these calendar tools and getting some real movement there. I am a big believer in blogging. I'm blogging just about every week. And then, of course, if you have an opportunity to look at some e-learning tools that helps lawyers in business development, maybe there's even, I have some, for example, Train the Trainer materials that you can use in addition to the video content to help make sure that you're getting real value on the content being provided. Those are all good things to go. So just kind of wrapping up, I want to thank you for your time. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. My contact information is right here. Steve@Fretzin.com is my email, Fretzin.com, my website, and the Origination Station if you're interested in the online e-learning platform that I've created. And that's what we'll go for today. Thanks and have a great one. Thanks for hanging out with me.